Accept reality as it is, not as you wish it to be one of the most painful, yet crucial. Lessons in life is this: reality does not care about your desires, expectations, or emotional investments. It is what it is, and if you cannot come to terms with that, you will suffer far more than necessary. When she chooses another man, that is not just an event, it's reality expressing itself through human action. And if you cannot accept that truth, you will distort your perception, weaken your character, and anchor yourself in denial. Let's be honest. When someone we love or think we love walks away from us, especially for someone else, it's tempting to romanticize the past and villainize the present. We tell ourselves stories. Maybe she's confused, and maybe I should fight harder, and maybe if I wait long enough she'll come back. But here's the brutal truth: she made a decision. Not a passive accident, not a random slip, a choice. And choice is where human will and identity converge. So when she chooses someone else, she is, in a very real sense, saying, "See, I see him as more aligned with the future I want than I see you." That statement is not a death sentence for your worth, but it is a reality you must not ignore. If you do, you start building your life on fantasy rather than truth, and that's dangerous. Why? Because when you resist reality, you stop learning from it. You stop growing. And worst of all, you begin to resent the very life you're meant to be building. The tragedy is that many people live in this state of denial for years. They chase the ghost of what could have been instead of confronting what is. They remain emotionally married to someone who has long since moved on. They rehearse arguments in their minds. They wait for closure. They beg for clarity. And in doing so, they place their own becoming on hold. But let's talk about something deeper. Why we resist accepting this kind of reality in the first place. The human psyche craves narrative coherence. We want things to make sense. We want to believe that if we loved purely, if we showed up, if we did our best, then things should have worked out. It's tied to a kind of subconscious belief in fairness. But relationships aren't meritocracies. Love is not owed for effort. People love what they love, often irrationally. And when you try to rationalize an emotional choice, you'll only drive yourself mad. Acceptance, then, is not surrender. It is not apathy. It is the decision to face the truth even when it's painful and say, "This is what happened. This is what she chose. And now I will choose something better for myself, not as revenge, but as rebirth." Accepting reality is not passive. It is active and disciplined. It means removing the mental hooks you've embedded in someone else's decision and bringing your energy back home, to yourself, to your growth, to your future. You don't do this by numbing the pain. You do it by respecting it, by letting it teach you what needs to be strengthened, healed, or understood. And there's something even more empowering underneath all this. When you accept reality, you reclaim your power. You are no longer tethered to someone else's choices. You are no longer a character in their story. You become the author of your own. You say, "She chose him. That's her story. Mine doesn't end here." There's a quote, "Once you cannot heal what you do not acknowledge." If you can't acknowledge that the chapter is over, that the door is closed, you'll never step through the next one. The cost of denial is not just wasted time. It's the erosion of your self-respect. And that is too high a price for any man to pay. So let her go, not because it doesn't hurt. Let her go because it does. Let her go because truth is more important than comfort. Let her go because who you are becoming matters more than who she prefers. When you do that, when you stare directly into the face of loss and say, see it, and I accept it, you don't just survive, you transform. Your value is not determined by her choice. There's a lie we often believe, especially in the wake of rejection. And it's this: if she didn't choose me, it must mean I'm not enough. That thought can haunt you. It can burrow its way into your psyche and infect everything: your confidence, your self-image, your purpose. But let me tell you plainly, her choice is not a verdict on your worth. Human beings are complex creatures. Attraction is not a mathematical equation. Relationships are not scorecards. Someone choosing another person over you is not necessarily a reflection of your shortcomings. More often, it's a reflection of their desires, preferences, wounds, dreams, values, even their own confusion. and none of those things are entirely about you. Still, it's easy to internalize rejection. It feels personal. It hurts personally, but feeling does not equal fact. You may feel like you're not good enough, but that doesn't mean you aren't. The truth is, your value as a human being is intrinsic. It is not dependent on who validates you, accepts you, or chooses you. It's dependent on how well you align yourself with truth, responsibility, and growth. Let's look at this differently. Say you go to a bookstore and pick up a novel, then decide not to buy it. Does that make the novel worthless? Of course not. It just wasn't what you were looking for. Maybe the genre didn't appeal to you. Maybe the timing wasn't right. Maybe you were in the mood for something else. The book didn't suddenly lose its value because you put it back on the shelf. It still has meaning, story, depth, but just not for you, not in that moment. That's how people are. Someone not choosing you doesn't reduce you, it just redirects you. But there's an even deeper issue here. If your sense of value is entirely dependent on external validation, on being chosen, loved, or admired by someone else, you are in a dangerous position. You are fragile. You are building your house on sand, because people are unpredictable. Feelings change. Circumstances shift. And if the only thing holding your self-worth together is someone else's presence in your life, you will collapse the moment they leave. You need a value system that's internal, one that's rooted in who you are, not just how others respond to you. You must ask yourself, what kind of man am I when no one is watching? What am I building? What do I stand for? That's where real self-worth begins. Not in someone's arms, but in your own choices, discipline, and direction. It's also worth understanding that being awe enough is not the same as being a right for someone. You could be strong, kind, intelligent, loyal, and still not be what a particular woman wants. That doesn't mean you need to become someone else. It doesn't mean you should morph and twist yourself to try to be what she wanted. That's a betrayal of your own becoming. True confidence comes from knowing who you are regardless of who walks away. It's forged in the moments when your heart breaks and you don't chase. When you hurt but don't compromise. When you respect someone's choice even when it costs you something. That's character. That's strength. You must stop seeking your worth in her decision and start finding it in your discipline, in your purpose, in your actions. Because in the end, what matters is not who chooses you, but what you choose when life doesn't go your way. So here's the challenge. Stop looking at her rejection as a measure of your inadequacy. Start looking at it as a test of your maturity. Will you crumble? Will you beg, chase, plead, collapse? Or will you breathe deep, stand up straight, and keep building the life that someone else, someone better aligned with your path, will one day admire? Let her choice be her truth. But don't let it rewrite yours, because here's the reality. You were already enough the day she walked away. You just didn't believe it yet. Now is the time to start. Pain is a signal, not a sentence. When she chooses someone else, the pain is real. Let's not lie to ourselves. Let's not pretend it doesn't matter. Your chest tightens, your mind races. You play out every conversation, every moment, every decision, thinking, where did it go wrong? Was it me? Was I not good enough? This pain, raw, sharp, and seemingly endless, feels like a sentence, like you've been handed down a punishment for loving too much, for trusting, for hoping. But that's not what pain is. Pain is not a prison, it's a signal, a message, a moment of deep and undeniable truth trying to wake you up to something critical. You see, human beings are biologically and psychologically wired to respond to pain. Physically, if you touch a hot stove, the pain teaches you not to repeat the action. Psychologically, the same principle applies. When your heart breaks, it's not just tragedy, it's information. That pain is pointing to something that needs attention, something that needs to be repaired, restructured, or rebuilt. Most people try to run from this kind of emotional pain. They numb it with distractions, addictions, shallow relationships, or denial. But all that does is delay the message, and often it makes the pain worse. Avoidance makes you weaker. Confronting pain makes you stronger. That's the difference between someone who stays broken and someone who becomes unbreakable. Here's the truth no one tells you. Your pain is trying to lead you to power, but only if you're willing to listen. What is it telling you? Maybe it's revealing your dependence on external validation. Maybe it's showing you how much of your identity was wrapped up in someone else. Maybe it's exposing an area of weakness where you lacked boundaries, self-respect, or emotional clarity. And that's not a criticism, it's an invitation. The pain says, look here, grow here, fix this. But if you only see the pain as suffering, as punishment, you'll miss the lesson and stay stuck. You must learn to feel pain without letting it define you. Let it wash over you, yes, but not wash through you. Don't let it rot your character. Let it refine it. Because pain, when engaged properly, is not destruction, it's discipline. Think about this. When a building is damaged by a storm, the owner doesn't curse the storm endlessly. He assesses the damage, strengthens the structure, and rebuilds. That's what you must do. You are the builder of your life. The storm of rejection, of heartbreak has come. So what now? Are you going to sit in the rubble and moan for the next decade? Or will you start laying bricks again, wiser, stronger, more aware of what your foundation truly needs? There's a reason ancient wisdom speaks so much about suffering and struggle, because these are the moments that forge identity. No one becomes great by avoiding hardship. They become great because they use it. And here's what's beautiful. The pain that once broke you can become the pain that builds you. If you confront it, understand it, and grow through it, it becomes your ally, not your enemy. But understand this too, healing does not mean forgetting. You don't have to erase the memory. You don't have to pretend it never mattered. Real healing is about integrating the pain into your story, not as the moment you were destroyed, but as the moment you started becoming who you were meant to be. So if you're in pain because she left, good. That means your heart worked. That means you risked something real. That means you're alive. But don't waste that pain. Don't squander it in bitterness or revenge or pity. Let it sharpen your mind. Let it fuel your discipline. Let it wake you up to the parts of yourself you were neglecting. Pain can be a doorway, but only if you walk through it. So no, this is not a life sentence. This is a turning point, a sacred one. She chose someone else. You're hurting, but the question is not, how do I stop the pain? The real question is, what is this pain trying to teach me, and who will I become because of it? Letting go is not weakness. It's discipline. People often mistake letting go for giving up. They imagine it as a quiet surrender, a loss, an act of emotional cowardice. But in reality, letting go, truly letting go, is one of the most courageous, disciplined, and mature things a person can do. Why? Because letting go requires you to face reality without distortion, without clinging to false hope, and without manipulating the story to protect your ego. It demands that you look squarely at the facts. She chose someone else. She walked away. She's not coming back. And no amount of obsession, pleading, or emotional bargaining will change that. Now ask yourself, what requires more strength? Chasing someone who no longer wants to be caught? Or choosing to stop, breathe, accept, and walk in a different direction, even when your heart is screaming at you to turn back? Letting go is not the absence of love. It is the presence of self-respect. You don't let go because you no longer care. You let go because you realize that continuing to care in that direction is killing your potential. You let go because your time, your energy, your future are far too valuable to be spent on a closed door. And let's be honest, letting go is painful. There's no point pretending it's easy. When you let go, you're not just releasing a person. You're releasing dreams, expectations, memories, parts of your identity. You're stepping into the unknown without the emotional safety net you've grown attached to. But that's where growth lives. That's where transformation begins. Because in letting go, you regain what you gave away, your focus, your emotional sovereignty, your power. Most people can't do this. Most people chase. They beg. They spiral into codependency or resentment. They stalk social media profiles and look for signs of regret. They stay stuck in loops, hoping for a miracle that will never come. That's not strength. That's fear disguised as love. That's weakness pretending to be loyalty. True discipline is saying, "This hurts, but I'm walking away anyway because I respect myself more than I want someone who doesn't choose me." Understand this, no one, not even the love of your life, is worth the cost of abandoning yourself. If you compromise your dignity for someone who walked away, you don't win them back, you only lose yourself. And once that happens, even if they do return, you'll no longer be the man you want to be. You'll be a version of yourself who shrunk to fit someone else's rejection. Letting go is a statement to the world and to yourself. It says, don't chase those who don't see my worth. I build, I rise, I move forward. It's not coldness, it's clarity, and clarity is power. There's something else you need to realize. What you hold on to determines what you miss. If your hands are full of the past, you can't receive the future. If your heart is still shackled to someone who left, you'll be blind to someone who's ready to walk beside you. Letting go doesn't mean you erase the past, it means you reframe it. You say, that chapter mattered. It taught me. It shaped me. But it does not own me anymore. That's the mental discipline of a mature man, not a boy living in nostalgia, but a man forging the road ahead. Letting go is also about trust, not just in others, but in life itself. Trust that what's meant for you cannot be taken. Trust that your future is not defined by who walked away, but by how you rise from their absence. It's easy to hold on. It's familiar. Even pain can become a kind of comfort if you sit in it long enough. But discipline is choosing discomfort now for strength later. It's choosing healing over familiarity. It's saying no to old wounds so you can say yes to new strength. So if you're standing in the wreckage of what once was, I'll say this to you, let her go. Not because she was nothing, but because you are something. Because your life matters more than this loss. Because your mission, your values, your future need all of you, not the fragments she left behind. Letting go is not weakness. It's proof that you are no longer willing to be held hostage by someone else's absence. And that is real power.